changing time. One last call for Rakugo. So finish your arc and review. um, I could not get changing time right. I kept thinking closing time. That song overrid the title of this arc that we're going to talk about. What are the chapters again? Remind me, Sam, that we're reading.
I believe specifically we are going to be discussing chapters 51 through 73.
Akane-Banashi. Welcome to the next arc review. This is one of my favorites. I love this series. It's nice. It's just nice when you find one, you're locked in, and there's a lot of chapters, and you're just loving it. Again, if you don't know, for a long time, my favorite anime and manga was Shogun Roku Akugo Shinju, so it kind of fits that like this really up my alley. This is a fun arc because it sets up a lot of like mechanics of like the stories. We get some challenge, some obstacles, some real setbacks for Akane, and it addresses something in the story that by the point that is finally revealed at the end of this, there's an aspect of the story that I was like, this is a flaw if they don't address this soon, and luckily they do. And I'll keep that under wraps until we get to it of what I mean. But there was a point where I was like, what's going on here? So this arc starts with, we kind of get introduced to Kaisei's power level, which he's like the like rocket ship blast off. Isn't he Shinichi? No, Futatsume.
No,
but
Kaisei, yeah,
but he's a
Futatsume,
like so
and he's
quickly, faster than anybody. Yeah.
Yes,
and he's like the rival, the Gary Oak, right? Like of this series, like he has something to aim at, like, and he's so far above Akane that it's like she wants to be like him, as in seen as this prodigy. He actually is.
And he's also Isho Arakawa, right, the supreme final boss.
So there's nuance
primary
there too,
pupil,
right? The villain of it,
yeah,
of the series. So we get to finally witness him actually doing Rakugo. We've seen him a few times, but he actually is doing a show. Akane's there. We get this absolutely stunning double spread of the story he does, which is, what is this called? The Death of Toyoshiga. And we learn his like special skill is horror, like is like murder sphere, like scaring the audience into submission. Like he's really convincing at the darker aspects of Rakugo, which there are a lot of kind of darker, morose stories in the Rakugo repertoire that he uses, but he also like has a feminine side, it sounds like, that he like oscillates back, so it's kind of like an unassuming guy, then just like will pivot into like zombie nightmare. And he's an interesting, because that's kind of how he is in real life too. He has kind of a a little cute, like kind of
he's very effeminate looking character,
kind of one way, and then will like leave a comment as he's going of like, such a shame, sucks to suck, and you're like, what the heck? Suck if you died today. Like, yeah, again, he's never said that, but like he'll like drop a little bomb as he's walking away that's like a little bit menacing. And his bomb he drops after his performance to Akane is like, hey, they're gonna do this little competition, and whichever Zenza wins is going to join a 4-person show. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. One thing I liked about this performance scene with Kaisei is Akane says something to the akin to like, now that I'm better at Rakugo, I can tell how good he is. And that's something that like is really cool about life, of like when you get like really good at something, you like realize actually how far you have to go. Like when you're just starting out, you think you're on top of the world, and Kane's like, now that I'm better, and now I can actually see how good he is, the nuance, the details. What did you think of Kaisei in this part, Sam?
I think Kaisei is a really I think he's a really fantastic character. You brought up his sort of rise to Futatsume and how like extremely fast it is, to the point where he is a bit of a like firebrand in the greater Rakugo verse, because again, for other
They don't do
schools
it this
not
way.
like the Arakawa school, it takes several years to be considered a Futsume. So the fact that he's at this level, there's a bit of a, not a chip on his shoulder, but there's a bit of a sort of something that he has to prove to the
Yeah,
other people
and
in the
so
space that he's
Akane's
ready
like,
to be here.
I have the line. She goes, he's so far away. Why does he feel so much further away now? She goes, the biggest reason is I've gotten better, and I'm realizing I didn't know a thing like when I saw him the first time. So she's like naive, ignorant. Now that she's better, she's been through the trials, the tribulations of the Zenza training. Like she has a much clearer picture of what it takes, and so he really like impresses her. Um, it's a what? It's the summer Arakawa School Zenza Renseikai, which is like their training event they have every year. One of the school leads judges it. This time it's Iken Arakawa, who's like
Yeah.
the actor
So
guy.
and also yes, so Iken's kind of his sort of gimmick, or sort of say, is he is like the
Yeah,
marketing kind of guy. He's got the
he's
marketing
got the most
brain.
connections in the industry, showbiz. He's an actor.
Yeah, this is what do we get reintroduced to Hikaru this
Uh,
arc? Or is
yes,
she a
but
little
later.
later?
Yeah, she's going to
Oh,
show up
okay,
at that
gotcha.
Zenza Renseikai, locked and loaded for sure. Um,
Yeah, because she joined as his pupil, and he took her on because she has connections outside of Rakugo
yeah,
through
but
her
right now,
voice
Akane
acting.
doesn't know that
Um,
she's committing to Rakugo because Akane is just being told by Keisai that or Kaisei, um, it's going to be me. It's going to be Koguma Anisan, so her superior in the what's it Shun, what's her master's name again? Shiguma
Shiguma.
school. And who else is it? Is it Iken that's doing the other? Yeah, so
Iken,
those
yeah.
three you get a chance to perform
Yeah,
with those
he's a
three.
Shinu. So yeah, Iken, by the way, is a Shinichi, but he is actually one of the pupils of Isho Arakawa
Okay, yeah.
as well.
So setting up another tournament arc, don't you love it? And yeah, we
We
love
love
them.
him. We love him.
And we get to learn a little bit about the promotion mechanics that you were talking about. So standard for promotion in the Arakawa schools, 50 performances. You can do kodan, which is historical stories, music and dance, and taiko drums is probably like the interstitial acts that separate each Rakugo performance that you just have to fill in for free for.
They also they with that stuff specifically, like the taiko drums and stuff. I believe Shiguma says at one point, like it's, you know how in like fucking Karate Kid he's like, yeah, wax on, wax off. See,
yeah.
now you know how to do the moves. It's, yeah, you're wax on, wax off, because the techniques you learn doing that help with the doing Rakugo in ways that you can't train through
this is a
doing it.
great little side thing, because one thing Akane is doing, and we have a few scenes of this in this arc of like, you're also just like cleaning dishes and working at a restaurant.
Grunt work. You're doing the grunt work.
There's something about it that, like, what is that related to, like comedic storytelling? But I think there's a few things. One, you get kind of obviously a discipline and rigor to that, and a respect for that. But two, you start, and I think this intimates that you start to like being able to just, without being told, sense what is needed from a superior, which then translates to, without being told, read the room of the audience. And then three is like, I think it does a good job at lowering the performer's status so they don't feel above the audience, right? So, oh, I had to do this apprenticeship that was the bottom of the barrel tasks, serving my master, serving my school, serving my hires, that when you finally get through the other side, there's a gratefulness and like humility when you get to actually perform Rakugo. I think that Akane is learning sometimes the hard way in this part. That's the thing. That's what I like about, like, Rakugo imbues the story with a lot of depth because just the art form is very like steeped in it. And so there's a lot of interesting conversations. But one other interesting conversation they have is like a power level conversation with her Anisan, where it's like, who are the best futatsume in what's the hierarchy of it, and we learn that what's it, Mike Maikeru, Maikeru.
Yeah, Mike from the archive
Yeah,
from
sure. So
Shiguma's
we know he's
school.
part of Akane's school, but we haven't seen him much. And she's like, he's the
He's
best.
he's they. This is like my favorite trope, by
Yeah,
the way. This is like my favorite
unassuming.
trope in shonen, where no. So one of my favorite tropes in shonen is the
Mm,
team. So if there's a group or a team, the team has some ace
ace. Yeah,
player who is injured in another country for a few months, and we can introduce
and
him
he comes in,
later
and then it's
in.
like, oh
Um,
gosh. Um, yeah. So like, oh yeah, Koguma says he's so busy with work that he almost never shows up here anymore. But he shows up, and he's the super chill guy, chill vibe. You don't get the same intensity or like dun 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 like when he enters the room. You're like, this guy, and she even says like, this guy is the best Futatsume in the Arakawa school. You really like, and we actually don't see him perform really though. So I guess we don't really
Not
know what
yet.
his superpower is yet. We do get to see like some of his backstory later, but we can get there. Um, I just like a power level discussion. I like to know who's where, and so that was fun to introduce. But then we meet two new Rakugo Zenza as well. We have Kaiichi Arakawa and Tama or Kendama Arakawa. Um, they are newer than even Akane, I believe. But
Yeah,
Kaiichi is like a 38-year-old former
I
salary man.
love.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
pause on
cool.
Kaiichi. I love
Yeah,
this fucking guy.
never
He
give
is
up
awesome.
on your
So
dreams.
his history again, 38-year-old dude, family man, has like multiple kids, very
And a
incredible like
yeah, successful
salesperson. He's like
salesman.
an
Yeah,
automobile. He's like a successful salesperson. Um, finds his way to Rakugo, and he's the other student along with Kaisei for Isho Arakawa. So you're like, and we already know,
right.
right, that Isho from chapter one, this guy don't fuck around. So you're like, dude,
I know
the
we haven't
final
seen.
boss of the
Like, wait a
series
second, what?
sees something in this 38-year-old sales guy. What is going on? What's going on? I'm
Just
so excited.
growls.
I love this guy, and I did, and I'm not just, and it's not
Do
just
you
because
relate to
I too
Kaiichi? Do
am
you?
a
I
salesperson.
feel like you know
I
what?
do relate to
Actually,
Kaiichi.
this makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of you in this guy. Okay, totally on board with it. Okay, continue.
He's just so amazing, and
Attitude. He's got great
he's got a
attitude.
great
Yeah.
attitude. He's like, when he meets Akane, he's super like ready to just kind of learn, because he's fucking new. He's not, despite being 15 years older than her,
Yeah. No,
is
he's
like
respectful. He's definitely
um
respectful. Yeah.
yeah, he's just very respectful, very willing to fucking learn. I love this. I love this guy. Um and then the other character, Kendama, is Iken's other student.
What's his deal? I forget.
That
He's kind
we
of forgettable so far.
I
He just kind of whimpers
I
a
don't really
lot so far.
I don't even know if I don't even quite remember if we even see him if we see him perform in this
I
arc.
know he probably competes
Um
in the thing. I just can't. I can't remember. But we see Akane do a performance of Hirabayashi, which is kind of a tag to Hasho, the master who snubbed her last time, about how she like soiled her Rakugo by getting back at that one crappy Futatsume guy. He was like, "I'll never teach you," and he wins him. She wins him over, and he does at the end of
mhm.
last arc teach her the story, and so she does that. It does really well, and obviously she gets through this first round of this competition. But that's just the top 8 make it to the selection round though, or the top 4. Top
Mhm.
4
Yeah, I believe it's
top
yeah.
4. So they do this thing every year, but they don't always do this selection round where the top 4 from the last one move on to be one of the performers that we were mentioning that will go with Kaisei, Kagumo, and Iken.
Yeah, Kaisei
Um,
Kogomu.
and so among that is Hikaru. We see her again. And she's been getting stories from, well, one, we learned that she was going to learn stuff from Urara, and then
Yeah.
she's become Iken's student. And they kind of work really well together because Iken typically, and this is true in Rakugo in general. I've done a lot of like research in Rakugo since this because I'm like into it. You're not supposed to change your voice a lot in Rakugo. It's supposed to be subtle changes for characters and the mannerisms, the slight intonation changes are what differentiates the characters. But Iken's like, your strength is voice acting. You're this famous voice actor. Lean into that strength right now. That's how you're going to survive this era. You can create completely new voices that will translate to an audience. So that's something that her specialty is going to. But we also learned that she's like insanely dedicated and like intense in a way that's insane almost to me.
Oh yeah, she becomes because after the Karaku Cup, both her and Karashi as well. Now Karashi we'll get to a bit later. He joins another school, but they are fueled, like they are fueled by that event and actually become and get into this full time. And her main reason for that is to challenge Akane again and to win. She sees her as like as her kind of number one core rival.
Right, the two ladies going at it. But like I said, obviously Hikaru moves on. Kaiichi moves on. Who's this other guy moves on to the four? This is that
Kendama.
his name?
Well, Iken's other student, yeah.
Or is that no? The guy who moves on to the four. Some guy who sucks. He gets like a bad score. Um, uh, let's see. Zenmai.
Zenmai, I was about to say, was it Zenmai?
And
Yeah.
Akane moves on. So those are four that get through this first arc, and that's it. So the first part of the tournament, they move on, and there's like this period of time between the two. There's like days in between, and you need a new story. And so Akane's trying to pick a story, and that's where our chill brother comes in, Maikeru. Sounds like Mike. Mike comes in. He's like, I'll teach you a story. Yeah. Which one? And he then gives us the lowdown of like the Pokemon type chart of Rakugo stories. And like the Nen abilities. That
Oh yeah, we do get the Nen fucking breakdown in this chapter.
I thought this was interesting. Again, it's fun to add these structures to this because it's an art form, but like I do believe this probably exists in real life. I'm sure this actually exists in Rakugo because these stories have been so taken apart and analyzed for centuries. He has this hexagon elemental chart again.
It's the Nen chart.
Yeah,
it's the Nen chart. It's a hexagon.
Oh, you know what?
Do you have a screenshot of it?
Yeah,
do you have a screenshot of it?
Nin. It's called Nin.
Yeah, they call it Nin.
So here it is.
These fuckers. Yeah. These little fuckers. Look at this shit.
So obviously we have the core, which is comedy. I guess that's the core of Rakugo. But then the outside, how do you derive that comedy? Atsu, power, force, momentum, and volume. Power is the top one. Jo is human stories, emotionality, so drama. Then you have Datsu, relaxation stories, so slacker, chill, surreal, which I imagine is a bit him. Iro is the sexy, so kaisei.
That's like what Urara does.
Sexy, seduction, enticement, allure. Chi is intellect, history, knowledge, and intelligence.
That's like Koguma's thing.
And then Haku is rhythm, speed, crispness, tempo, which Akane is really good at too. I'm curious because he keeps hinting at like, I think I know what her nin is, but they never actually tell us what her nin is. And maybe that's part of the journey. But some people combine two of these and they have like a core thing that they're really good at. So he gives Koguma as an example. His is Chi and Haku, intellect and tempo. That's his thing. He memorizes and studies the Rakugo so he can give great tempo, and he does the history and stuff too. With Kyoji's Jo and Atsu, which is drama and power. I love this stuff, Sam. Feed it to me, like feeding tube, tracheotomy. Give it to me. And so like he even shows up like when Akane did Urara's story last time, the sexy one. It did not fit her nin at all. The Iro, the sexy, and it ended up being funny anyway. And she made it work, but it doesn't fit her story.
It doesn't. Yeah. like Nen abilities, you can
Yeah,
still
you
do
could do
it.
it.
If you can still transmute if you're
Oh
not an
my
enhancer,
god.
it's just gonna kind of suck
It's
ass.
literally it's so good shown in power stuff. Again, I really like that. So he's like, I'll teach you a story, but you have to pick. I'll give you three options. One that'll just be an easy dub. It's a crowd pleaser. It's gonna work on this stage. You're gonna get everybody giggling and chuckling. It's called the abstaining guard. He calls it. Second, I could teach you toad oil, which in my opinion, um, it fits your nin. From what I can tell from your nin, toad oil is you, and that's going to really help you kind of stand out because you're going to be in your element. Or I'll teach you changing time, which was your dad's story. That was your dad's story. He performed this at the same event, and this is what got him promoted to Futatsume, was doing changing
Mhm.
time. And Akane's like, changing time. Yeah, my dad's one. Got it. Changing time.
Hell yeah,
Bzz,
hell
changing
yeah.
time. What is changing time? What is my daddy issues? Um, she goes right for that, and I'm not surprised, right? But obviously Mike knows the dad a lot. Like they were friends. Mike's seen Akane grow up. He probably has a good idea of what Ninshi is.
I think I'm trying to remember how the math checks
I
out
know,
on it
right?
on it all
He
because
looks pretty young.
I'm pretty sure Akane's dad was in the school. Was it 6 or 10
Something like that.
years he
You're
was in
right.
the
It's a
school?
while, a long
Um,
time. Yeah.
and my character is he's the oldest Ani-san, so now so he's has the longest relationship with her dad in
Yeah.
the school.
So changing time, just because it's so important. I'll talk about the plot a bit, and so much so that
Yeah,
I went and I tried to like wa-
to watch a
performance of
performance.
changing time, and you know what? They are all very different. Not very, but they're all different than what's in the manga. Everyone does, cuts parts out. It was in Japanese, so it didn't get a lot of it, but you still see, some of the drunken mannerisms. So Akane, story changing time. A man stays out late drinking. When he finally gets home, he drinks some more to his wife's chagrin, and because he's such a just fuck up.
Just
Yeah,
like me,
yeah. And
for real,
she's
for
just
real.
like this guy, and he's like this lady, but they actually like it's kind of like endearing because it's like this married couple who obviously love each other, and they're so used to their own kind of energies that
Idiosyncrasies and
it
all that.
just there's an endearing aspect to that relationship. And one of the challenges is like Akane is 18, never been in a relationship. How is she going to meaningfully and convincingly reproduce that nuance, that mature nuance of a married couple? And she talks to her mom about it a lot. And so this is where I am at the story. We're like, how many chapters? 60 maybe by this point.
Yeah, about the
And I'm
60s
like,
we're at this point.
Connie's dad did not die. Yet you could fool me. He's like not. It's late at night. She's talking just to her mom. There's no dad in the picture. It's like I was like, this dad needs to show up soon, or I think this is a legitimate problem. Because I'm gonna stop thinking he's a good dad if he's like never in the story.
No,
But I
so
know,
I'll
no, they
just
do address it. They
let's
do
just
address it later
yeah.
on. But I remember her talking in this conversation with her mom, and I'm like, where is dad?
So not only do they address where he is, and to let the audience know, he works at a he works for like he's like cement sales or concrete sales or
Yeah.
something like that, and and like many
He works way
Japanese
too much. Never sees his family.
jobs, he's out of the country like most of the year. He's on business, and that's why he's not around. But he's working. He supports the family. Still loves his wife and daughter.
I just was like, what's going on here? But she also drops a line that she didn't. She also made the decision not to talk to him about Rakugo stuff because it might still be like a problem, a sore spot for him, and it's her journey. So she mentioned that line too. But I'll stop there with the dad. But this is the moment where I'm like, okay, where's dad? Because there's this scene.
Yeah, is this the part of the story too where she's like, yeah, I still talk to my dad about all this. I talk to my dad all the time.
She's like, no, I mean, we have a great relationship still. Like this, like there's like you can see there's a little cope in this story because there's this scene late at night. Akane's up talking to her dad. We think, and her mom comes out. It's like, hey, what you doing up? And she's talking to herself and pouring herself, her dad, like a drink. And I'm just like, this is very sad. Like, this is a very sad thing to see. And I was like, man, could he not be involved? And I know it's explained. And again, I do
And
think
we
it's
will
saved, but
in Tom, before we hit chapter 100, you will feel very
yeah,
satisfied
no,
with
I'm already
the
satisfied
dad.
by again. I'm not spoiling.
You'll be more sad. You'll
Yeah.
be. I don't want to spoil anything for you or the audience, but you'll be more satisfied.
Charlie's mom. Yeah, she's great.
She's great.
So wow. Yeah, a lot happened there. When do we get? I'm trying to see if I've skipped over something. At some point, we get Kaisei's backstory, and I think I skipped over it. And it's compelling enough that I want to talk about it. Um, which is his mom runs a bar, I believe. The dad's not in the picture. And this, and the bar is struggling. She gets sick. The bar kind of goes. Is not she's not making a lot of money off of it. And this guy comes in. This old freaking guy comes in, never pays his tab, and leaves. And Kaisei's like, Mom, little kid, Kaisei, why aren't you just gonna let him do it? And she's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Oh, it'll be all right. It'll work out. She's very optimistic, very positive. Even while she's like on her deathbed, it feels like she's like, it'll be okay. And he's like, man, I'm so weak. Why can't I, in this moment, tell her the same thing she's always been telling me? But no, I'm going, it won't be okay. You're sick. We can't work. We have no money. And who comes walking in but Isho? That's his name, right? Isho,
Yeah,
the
Isho
old
Okara,
guy
yeah.
who never paid his tab, walks in. I'd heard he's trying to act local. I heard your bar's closed down. I can't get my favorite drink. Here, I thought I'd pay my tab, and it's this bag of cash just loaded. Who knows how much? Just an insane amount of money. She's like, well, this is way too much. He's like, it's my, I'm paying the future tab too, which like saves their lives.
Yeah, saves the
saves
business.
their
Yeah.
lives. He would have been in poverty. His mom might have died. I don't know if she did die, but if she's still alive, because of the health treatment she could get from that money. So right then and there, he's like, I bow to you, sir. I will become. How did you make so much money? Money clearly is part of it. He's like, I tell stories. It's a cool backstory. It's a cool moment. Isho's it's kind of a badass move. Um, Even though it's like pay your bill, but like that's a cool way to do it.
And
It's a cool way to do it.
Yeah, definitely pay your bill. But also and also compared to a lot of other, because what's so fun about Akane, especially in the magazine that it is it is a shonen story, but there's also unique elements of it that are uniquely not shonen, and the fact that Isho Arakawa is he's a normal human guy, like who's honestly pretty. Again, we get introduced to him in a really bad light, but the more you kind of learn about him, you kind of understand where he comes from, and he's not a villain per se. He's just the antagonist of the story.
So that I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that part of it. Yeah,
we touched on that. No, I'm glad we hit that.
It was good to know. And so now comes the real tournament where we're really slowing down. It's the top 4 from the last event, the selection day, where there's like not just a panel of judges, but the audience gets to vote, and the streaming audience gets a separate vote. This is all-star game stuff. And we start with Zen Mai. We couldn't even remember his name because this guy crashes out. He tells, what is the story? The stubborn mock Sebastian. And he just crashed out. And gets like a 75, like just some out of 100, right? Just rough. This old school like radio guy, I think, or some kind of old timey like Rakugo enjoyer. So not even a Rakugo, cause like this isn't the Edo Rakugo that I respect. Zero. Like he just absolutely destroys it. Like where then Kaiichi goes up next, and we're like, okay, what is this guy's deal? Again, I want to linger on Kaiichi too. He's in the bathroom. He's washing his hands. He's getting the face wash, and he says to himself, honesty, dedication, emotion, gratitude, and unending love for the customer. And then the chapter ends, and you're like, this guy's what? That's like this guy's insane. Like, what does that mean? And you get his backstory, as you're saying, like
Yeah, he was basically an amazing salesperson. Made a ton of money. He just was so stressed out, for real,
no,
bro.
that's not. There's nuance to
That
that. It's when he
mhm.
started getting pushed to sell stuff that was subpar. It didn't align with his value of unending respect and love for the customer. And my
Respect and
boss is
honesty and
pushing
loyalty to
me
the customer.
to sell the stuff that I know is not good. I know it's subpar. I'm lying to them. I can't live with this conflict, which is such a good guy move you can't even believe. And he's like, "Oh, what's a way for me to be honest to the customer?" The Rakugo, and he again, it's amazing that he just gets accepted. I think that, but I think his earnesty is what convinces Isho to take him on, which I respect Isho for that. That's cool because he's
Again, it's again because there's other shunichis at the Arakawa school you would think maybe he would fit under, like
yeah,
Zensho, which is
yeah.
Zenmai's
That guy needs to work on his
master.
stuff. Yeah,
But no, it's like it's very
yeah.
interesting that it's Isho
And
specifically who takes him on as the
like
apprentice.
think about like doing the apprentice stuff, like this the grunt work for an 18-year-old is one thing. When you like have a family and kids and you have to do that, like there's a level of humility there and like determination that I really respect. Like that is a totally different thing. And he's good at it too. He's so like office salaryman pill that he's like, I'm used to being doing the grunt work. These jobs suck. Office jobs suck. Like I sure, this is still way better than anything else I was doing.
It's like it's so cool to see how like his skill set in something completely separate, like completely almost opposite of the arts in a sense, is able to allow him to be so successful when a lot of people would crash out.
Yeah.
Like
So he does
um
the Golden Bamboo, which is a story of some ne'er do well loser, kind of one of these clumsy fools, works for his uncle's shop, but um, the big his big skill, and I have the panel saved, is he does this insanely technical, long kind of order, I guess. That comes the guy comes into the shop and confirms his order. It's kind of like Jugemu in a similar way, but he does it with such
mhm.
verve and vigor and intensity, and he does it. Um, he like adds like reaction emotes to it. Like it's so like he. It's not just that he tarnishes the original Rakugo. He goes so crazy at the end that like you literally see this old man like crumbling under the dust of like the tidal wave that is Kaiichi. Like you like the audience is uproariously laughing at his like just insane outburst, and he gets a perfect audience score and a total of 91 here. So he gets 20 out of 20 from the audience. Um, and and so he's like a big customer pleaser.
Big crowd
That
pleaser.
love customer number one overall. So that was interesting to see his like angle. His superpower is like whatever the room needs, I'm there. And I found that fun. I mean, it was definitely a fun like performance to read.
Yeah, he's definitely. We don't really see too much of him, and I think that's actually the only performance up until this point in the manga that we've seen of him. And I wish we get more. I wish we get more of him. We're getting a little more of him where we're at in the manga
Okay,
right now
good.
in 2026. But yeah, no, I think it's a great. Yeah, I think it's a great little story. Again, I love my sales
Good
folks
for
out
yeah,
there.
good for him. Yeah.
So
Um, so next up, oh, look at this panel, dude.
oh my
Hikaru,
god. They just go crazy on the
she,
with the spreads. They go
the
crazy
way
with the
that Hikaru's
spreads.
drawn, I mean, it is really like, and she's doing the strategy I talked about earlier, the multiple voices, which has a term I forgot about it. The eight blind men. She's performing as if it was eight blind men, as if blind men could follow the story by changing the voices, which ends up being a great strategic move because the streaming audience that's gotta suck. Japan streams, that must be low quality.
360p.
There's a delay, and it helps them follow the story on the stream. It's almost like Iken's devious little time bomb, because he's her master, but also setting up the mechanics of this competition. This
He just knows it's
Yeah,
gonna work.
so
He just knows she's gonna easily clear the streaming audience.
Obviously, she does a great job. She's way better. Everyone even notices, like, wow, she really put in the time. But that really translates to the streaming audience. Obviously, the audience too, because they don't know. The audience don't know as much about Rakugo either. Um, and so she gets a 93. So we have 75, 91, 93.
193.
And so she's in first place, and of course they're saving Akane for last. But she pleased the beginners, which was one of the options Mike gave Akane. Remember, like, this will be a crowd pleaser, and Akane didn't choose that. She chose the hardest option. She's choosing one that might not even fit her in. She's not a married person. She doesn't get drunk either, and she's got to, like, how cringe is it when some people try to act drunk, right? Like, and I'm not going to do it here, because that'll be cringe. But that's kind of what Akane has served up for herself in a way that's going to be challenging, because there's a lot of, like, things that aren't in her wheelhouse that Hikaru went right into her wheelhouse. She's, like, doubling down on her strengths here, and doing something that's kind of almost frowned upon in Rakugo, which is doing different voices for their various roles. I think that's it on Hikaru, right?
Yeah. And then we get to Akane's changing time story.
Yeah. This is where, the changing time has been built up a lot, obviously. We didn't know much about it. This is like a next level manga scene. It is just, it's a message that is just so meaningful and human. So Akane is doing this performance. She's connecting with her dad through the performance. We're seeing flashbacks to her dad. The audience, it's kind of a slow go at the beginning. Akane's kind of settling into the story. And again, doing the drunk, but kind of playing it really, really grounded. Not going over the top of anything. She's doing her best to stay grounded in that way. The little banter, the little jokes that kind of come out that, older people might get, younger people might not as much. But it's like, it's still amusing, and everyone's kind of pleasant. Again, she's doing this thing again where she's, like, creating that space, characters, like she did in the last thing too, like the skill set she has of, like, humanizing and grounding the story, but it does not ever lead to, like, this uproarious tidal wave of laughter until she gets into her stride near the end. The second half, she, like, kind of puts pedal to the metal. But I just really like this story in general, like, divorced from Akane-Banashi. But then what was the secret she unlocked that got her to pass the story with Mike, right? I'm gonna call him Mike now. What was it? What did my dad do? What am I tapping into from my dad that will help me here with becoming the best Rakugoka? She realized that he was obviously hardworking, very kind, but he was also weak. She calls her dad weak. You hate to see it. And she says, but when faced with the bad side of humanity, he had a knack for scooping up the warm human heart beneath it. He was a man who could speak profoundly about the weakness of the human spirit. When admiration and strength are the things that inspire you, you won't reach his true depth. I mean, like, what a nuanced, thoughtful, interesting theme, an artistic kind of endeavor to get out of a Shonen Jump manga, of, like, because you're right. The dad we talked about in the first arc review, like, he did kind of chuckle nervously, make a kind of a bad joke in his Makura, I think, the opening jokes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I guess that's why he failed. But, like, that's because each show has different standards. But what the father's doing, what Akane tapped into here, is like, there's other parts of this experience I'm not letting go. And she never knew what it was about her dad's Rakugo she loved so much. And I think with doing Changing Time, tapping into it, learning it from Mike, who taught her the same way his dad taught him the story. Like she connected to this kind of very human, real warmth at the heart of Rakugo, because that's what that story's about. It's like this husband who's just a disaster, so mean to his wife. The wife who's always like, "This, I hate this guy. This guy sucks." And then she leaves, and he's mumbling to himself drunkenly of like, "I love her. Like, I know I give her so much guff. I could never talk to her, say this to her face, but she's my sun and my stars." And and then he goes like, "Are you still there?" And then she's like, "You idiot." You're like, it's just like, I don't know, I was so moved by this that that's why I looked it up, because I was just like, that is so fun. That's like very, Rakugo can be very silly, can be very, you know, ridiculous, but that was very grounded.
It's yeah, it's a yeah, and again we with the different genres of Banashi that we get introduced to. Yeah, it's a comedy art form, but it's so much more than that. Where there's stories that are scary or emotional or romantic
It's
or
just beautiful.
and
Yeah,
funny
like it
too.
really is
Uh,
inspiring. I want to be able to enjoy this art form because there's depth like that there. And Akane tapping into that. Yes, maybe it was not the best for her performance because the streamers hate it. Twitch, the chat was not impressed.
Twitch was like, this shit
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. Where the titties? Yeah,
Get the VA
yeah,
back
yeah.
on.
Get the Seiyu back on. She gets a 92. The stream give her a 16 out of 20. She loses by 1 point, but like very much, it kind of sets her up of like, this is a level of depth that she's reached that, if anything, I would say Hikaru's technique was a little more shallow, right? This play to win this event versus
Mhm.
unlock and unearth a deeper layer of yourself and your performance art and how you connect to audience, that Akane almost soul search. And I feel like also she kind of got out of her father's shadow by like realizing this, and she can kind of integrate what she's learned to kind of find her own voice. And what saves it all is the dad is watching on the stream as well. I'm sure he's one, and he's like weeping. He can, and I think he even makes a joke about the quality being terrible. Um, um, but like I really think he's like, I can barely see her. Like it's so bad, but it could be because he was crying
Yeah.
too. And I was like, thank God the dad's like involved, like at all, because I was feeling like it's about time we need to see him. I'm glad we saw him. Complaint voided. Like, we're good. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think? I guess I went on a big thing there, but that was really touching
I
to
liked
me.
I no, I think it's so emotional too, and I love that and especially with how you explained it earlier, I think is wonderful. Where basically so she's 1 point off because the streaming
The
audience
chat was
doesn't
not
like it.
feeling
The
it.
streaming audience liked the streaming audience was feeling Hikaru, which again ties into Master Iken, who
Mm-hmm.
set up the event, played to her strengths, but also it's also if Akane probably picked one of those two other stories that Mike would have given her the option to do, she would have probably won the event.
Yeah,
But she challenged herself, and she didn't quite reach it. And this is the first kind of real, like, true failure we've actually had to
she
see her
lost.
kind of
This is
come up
Ash
against in the
at the
story. She lost.
Indigo League, um, and also no more to note, no one got promoted after this event too that participated. Which not sometimes people do get promoted at the Futatsume, especially the winner. And Iken said it wouldn't be proper for me to promote my own student at one of these. So Hikaru winning kind of got negated her. Um, I don't know. So that mechanic's kind of developing too, but
And she's not ready, too, by the
no,
way.
yeah,
Just
yeah. So,
throwing that up there. Yeah, she's not
but
ready to be promoted yet,
I
too.
don't know. I just
Um,
was like, there's like the strategy of it, to quote former President Bush, um, um, like, and the mechanics of Rocco. That's fun and very shonen. The tournament arc, that's very fun. Characters are very fun. There's though that there's that something else which they touched on with changing time with the dad's relationship, that really, like, you can see is the foundational, like, why I love this so much and why I think everything else on top of it works so well, is because there's this human mature sensibility in this manga that hasn't been betrayed yet. Like really, every new character, every new action, every new arc we've gone on, like feels like it's meaningfully developing these things instead of like distracting us or taking a step back or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, and I love, and I just wanted to park it too on, I love the ending of chapter 73 like so much, where she's kind of just walking, she's kind of aimlessly
It's
walking
a
around
very Hibike
Tokyo,
euphonium moment. I must improve.
and
I must
like
improve.
she's just walking around, and I just love this just amazing. Oh dear, my phone's all bright to shit. Let me lower the brightness on that for y'all. Sorry, I don't have this physically, but I just love this full page shot of her just
especially
crying,
because of how vulnerable
it
she
did.
got for this performance.
I wanted to win with Dad's story. I wanted to win so bad.
I think she needed to learn that you need to find your story, and it's not going to be your dad's, but you unlocking this aspect of that, the weakness, the vulnerability. Because to be honest, Akane is like incredibly confident. It's like people even like comment. It's like, wow, you really just said you're going to be the best ever. It's very, very like King of the Pirates. Like she has that,
Yeah,
and I think she needed that vulnerability to help level her up.
it's a real like unlike with the older Rakugoka, who was sort of refusing to teach her for a while until she kind of got back on his good side. That was a setback. This is the first like major blow, major loss. And I like that we sit with it for a little bit, and I love how she gets back to it by saying Jugumu to herself,
right?
Which is something she established earlier as something she does when she's emotionally tries to reset herself.
I mean,
I think about this moment all the time. I think about this chapter, and I think about this L.
I just think
a lot.
the series is so smart, and I don't know. Like again, why I like Shinju Rakugo Shinju, go Shogun Rakugo Shinju, is it had this like, it was a drama. It was a very dramatic human story. It has a lot of nuance and mature kind of depth to the character relationships. And this is a little more fun and lighthearted and not as melodramatic as that story. And so there's I kind of like that about this, but it still has the depth to it. Where like, for instance, and we can end on this, but Hikaru no Go is somewhat similar to me when I think about it as like this, because Go is treated very seriously in Japan. In many ways, it is an art form. The game has a lot of like lofty kind of philosophical aspects to it. And Hikaru no Go sometimes gets to that, but for the most part is just a battle manga series. You know, like it doesn't actually pay full respect to the depth of it.
And there's also like there's a spirit.
Yeah.
It's
right,
like a Yu-Gi-Oh
There's
thing.
a lot
like...
of stuff going on, and that could have been this, and this, but it's not. Like Akane-Banashi is more Showa Gonroku Rakugo Shinju than Battle Shonen than I thought. Like it's actually way more into the interpersonal human dynamics, at least from what we've seen so far, than I expected, and I'm thrilled about it, while still having the lighthearted, fun shonen structure. But especially with Changing Time, which again I really enjoyed the story on its own.
Do you think that's your favorite Rakugo story that we've read through so far?
And I cannot wait to see it performed in the anime. I know we hate anime, but you know what? We were talking about this earlier. They're apparently airing that for free in English on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch the dub on the official
so I don't know if we
YouTube
want to
channel.
Cover that or not, because it seems manga only, right? But I'm really I think an anime like this, if done right, will really serve well because of the performances, getting to see them with voice acting and whatnot.
That's my hope too. I'm like, as we get closer and closer to Tom, I'm feeling nervous, dude. I'm feeling like it's not gonna hit. Which, you know, here's the thing. I'm already caught up. My ass is already on the chapter.
I don't need to worry about it.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. But I want people, because this is my worry. My worry is that the anime adaptation is middling, and then people are like, well, the manga's mid, and it's not.
So
it's so not.
I'm blown away by it every time we do an arc review. What are we reading next time so that we can leave people?
So next time, yeah. So that's what I was scrambling to find. I wanted to make sure we set it on. It's going to be a little shorter. Let's do according to the fucking fandom site, which we all love. This is like 3 mini arcs, but it'll be chapter 74 through 88, which is the Shikisai festival arc through the end of the 4-person event arc, the Arakawa Spring Breeze, which is what Hikaru just won. So we'll read that, which goes up to again chapter 88. So yeah, it'll be 74 through 88. Join us next time and stay authentic.